Hello and welcome to episode 23 of our Timberborn 1.0 Waterbeavers playthrough, cycle 22, day 14. About 1.7 days left before a bad tide happens, and we're going to hit pause immediately because we have to address something very important. Yes, this is a bad design. For whatever reason, my brain just works the way that it does, and there's a whole lot of reasons, I guess, but this corner and this corner, despite, being viewed from this side with the thing up as opaque, are actually transparent when it comes to water physics. So we're going to have water come through here and flood all sorts of nasty stuff. I have confirmed this off camera in a branch save that I decided to make for testing, not to modify what we're actually using for gameplay here. So we do need to take this floodgate dam out and make some changes. We're going to get all of our resources back because it has not been built, but even if we weren't going to do that, we still are probably not going to be able to get 40 tar made in the next 1.7 days. So here's what has to happen. This has to be removed. We have to be able to gather the rest of this material, which I don't think is going to be too big of a problem, but we do need to make sure we don't accidentally delete it, so we're being very careful. We have to remove this platform, and we have to remove this platform. And instead, what has to go here is we have to put a levee in. And you might be asking, how is it possible to put a levee in? Because in Waterbeavers, it has to come down from the top, and it has these anchor things here. Well, I tried this. And it turns out the game actually lets you place it here. So, I'm not going to ask any questions. We're just going to do it and say thank you. So, that's what they're going to get in. They can build these from above, no problem. Getting this is not... Of course, that's where the blueprint is. It's not going to be simple to get this thing. So, I think what we're going to have to do, unfortunately, is have an intermediary step. Get it? Step, because it's stairs. We're going to have an... Why did it go on top of the... I'm going to lose my mind. All right, please hold while we flush this nonsense off the top of the building. Anyway, so that's what's happening here. This needs to be top priority. And what's going to happen, of course, is they're going to pick all that stuff up off the ground, and I'm going to mix my syllables up again, but it's fine. It's going to come all the way back here, and then they're going to have to take it back there. We are making tar. We are not out of materials with which to make tar. We are low on sawdust, kind of. But I think the urgency of this situation definitely calls for us making some modifications to what buildings are making what. So this one's going to start making tar. And this one is also going to start making tar. And I bet you can't guess what's going to happen here. That's right. This one is going to start making tar. They are all prioritized by haul. Actually, no, they're not. Now, they're all prioritized by haulers, and they should be able to quadruple our tar output. Will it be enough in the next 1.7 days? Find out, I suppose. But this is a very important thing that they're going to have to take care of. This will solve the problem. I just did exactly the same thing about 20 minutes ago in my testing world, so don't worry about that. But that's going to bring up a couple of other questions as well, because what's going to happen with the bad tide drains filling up these tunnels? We come down here, you will note that there is a lot of stuff down here that hasn't been picked up because there's nowhere to put it. But you will also note that this tunnel is still 1 unit wide for the entire length of what's going on. And, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because remember that this game has made some changes to the water physics in recent versions. This is on version 1.0, we're on 1.1 experimental right now. But 1.0 did make it easier for more liquid to go through a smaller confined space. The issue is going to be when the bad tide starts and these things kick on, even if the flow throughput of this is adequate for whatever, it is going to back up probably. And I imagine we could have a scenario where it's going to spill up over the top of these and kind of put some stuff in here. So, what that means is that this might actually not have been as foolish as some of us have assumed. We will see what happens. So for the time being, I'm not going to remove these yet, because if we do have some pollution end up here, we're going to be glad that these were here. So while these guys are also taking care of this, we probably should come back down here and I'm kind of reluctant to try and widen this because obviously that could cause some other issues. But you know what's not going to be crazy hard or crazy time-consuming to do is deepen it, like some people have said. So what I'm going to propose we do is just put in... See, I have 25 dynamite. Well, would you look at that? Would you look at that? This is 25 pieces of dynamite worth. And they should be able to put all of these in. And maybe not before the end of the pre-bad tide cycle, but I don't have to have beavers down there to set it off. So we'll see what happens. Just wanted to preface all this before we, get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode, that we are going to make concerted efforts to solve problems before they happen. So, unpause. There are other things we need to do, like this forester, which is currently not needed, could be removed, but it's also, it's not hurting anything being here. It is paused, so we're not inflating the population. But there are, as at least one of you pointed out, berry bushes. Somebody said there were 8. There's actually 9, so we really want to get these things gatherable. They are just out of reach of the harvester's cottage. And I've got a spot right here that has nothing going on. That was not the correct thing to click for that. So why don't we just do a gatherer flag? We have extra beavers working, or not working because they were extra, so that will help solve that problem. You will note that this did not get messed up on game load, so we do still have stuff on top of the tea lodge and terrace. I did, before I hit record, put these paths back in. That does still happen. Don't know why. Lapon doesn't know why either, so we are, I guess, okay. Somebody else also pointed out that the tea lodge and terrace can make cereal bars, and I am excited to see if we can get that going. I'm not going to build any more of these for the time being, but the recipe for this is 1 hour to make 22 of them, versus the cooking tent is the same. So it doesn't seem like it's any better, but if we want to, want to have a slightly different setup with just a bunch of these buildings, then, maybe that's a good thing. These can have visitors. They do serve a social purpose, but, just keep that in the back of our minds here. I do want to make sure I don't let too much of this time go by without absolutely confirming that a bunch of other stuff is okay. So let's come back over here. Somebody asked if this floodgate dam was automated to Bad Gary, and it is. So that is fine. This one is not, because this one no longer needs to be automated. This is taken care of. We already knew those were okay. Bad water coming through here, in theory, could spin these faster. That is always allowed. Somebody asked why we didn't use this suspension bridge to get across, and from this angle it absolutely looks like that could be used. However, it's not tall enough, and it's not ever going to be able to reach, so there's no reason we were ever going to be able to take care of that. Alright, wow, they built these levees fast. I don't know that they can actually build this in 1.4 days on 16-hour days. So I know, as much as some of you really hate that, I am gonna increase the working hours because we just have to get it done. But I need them to be able to grab this before they do anything else, and I don't want anything to be shoved up here. So sometimes what I will do is I will build up here. Oh, I didn't think it was gonna let me place that. All right, well, you know what that means. I don't have to do this anymore, and I'm not gonna feel bad about it. All right. Let's just do that and agree that this is fine. We don't need to worry about it. Be very careful of the leading. Okay, so you might be saying, if you were thinking in base game terms, why don't you just do impermeable flooring? Waterbeavers don't have that. So now what we have is we have a pile of materials that can be harvested, and I can take this opportunity to put the floodgate dam back in. We can, of course, automate it to Bad Gary, off all the way down, on all the way up, and that will be perfectly okay, because what happens here is not that these are going to be in the way anymore. It's that this piece completely blocks off the only accessible face of this water source, and when bad water comes down here, it can't go down through this area, and it can't come out because this is in the way. This is the plus sign shape. So there will be a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of bad water that's trapped in here, but not enough to even worry about. It's just about pushing it off the side and not having to do anything else. We cannot blast this down because this is the anchor point for the levee in here. And if we blasted this one down, then all of the good water would flow that way as well. So this is, while, you know, not a perfect solution, it is going to be the one that works the best for what we're doing. Absolutely make sure that's fixed. And for that reason, I feel like this is probably going to be the best way to do it. So we can unpause, make sure that is good to go. Make sure these are all producing. Looks like we are producing 3 out of 4. This one is waiting on sawdust. We do have some sawdust. I'm going to hit pause temporarily on this paper mill because I don't want to be using any more sawdust than I have to, since it is a component in the tar that we need. We'll turn it back on, don't worry. We're in the process of getting this workshop operating, but it is not connected to a path because somebody did not click the path on the top. So now this can make metal blocks, it can make anvils, it can make drill bits, which we know drill bits are going to be something that are important to have soon. So that is what I'm going to do, is I'm actually going to start making drill bits. This uses methane, scrap metal, and sunflower oil. This is currently, I mean, it's not burning any methane anyway because there's no load placed on it. But we do need to get this hooked up to the power network. That is something I've been trying to do, but as you know, things take time. So we're gonna see what happens. I will pre-detonate these because I can. But they're obviously still taking care of what they have to take care of there. How much progress are we making on this? Surprising amount of progress, actually. That seems pretty good. This says it has nothing to do in range because these bushes are all dead. There is no way to get down here, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that gatherer flag. This, the scavenger's junkyard, says it has nothing to do in range because it's already done everything in range, but there's all this over here, and all we have to do is put another zipline station in somewhere in this locale, and they'll be able to do it. So instead of trying to do something crazy insane, I think what might make more sense is just to put a regular zipline station right here, but turned that way so that this could go here and here. They'll make use of this. We don't have to have quite so many of these scavenger flags hanging out over here, although it's good labor absorption or whatever you want to call it. That seems fine. Okay, those aren't operating because it's at night. That's fine. We can triple speed through that. We've got this area over here where they are in the process of getting these everblossoms planted. This is going to, at some point, kind of end up being an issue for water retention purposes, unless we increase the height of the primitive dams here. Somebody said they thought all the water was running off. Well, I mean, technically, yes, but it's more like it's combining with this. So I think the best way to solve that, obviously this is all stuff that will happen over time, but best way to solve that is going to be to just block this off somewhere up here so that the water level raises all the way up to the full height of this block instead of the half height here. And then this will also have to have an upgrade placed upon it, but that is not a right now thing. I just wanted to, acknowledge that so it gets in my brain and people think about it as a possible good solution. We got 0.8 days. We are waiting on another 25 logs and 70 tar, which we don't seem to have. 53 of it is already right here. So, there's a very good possibility we start the bad tide with this thing not complete and we do get some bad water in. There is also the possibility, like I said, that this overflows. But don't forget, this is not going to be a terrible thing. It's going to be kind of bad, but we do have the bad water pumps here that can help clean it out. We just have to, dare I say, trust the process again. We'll be all right. It's going to be okay. So I think now the only real thing we have to keep track of is their progress on taking care of this. You know, we're not really in a position where we're hurting for jobs, but I do think I will deprioritize both of these lumberjack flags. We might need them at some point. But for right now, they can just stay around. I'm invested in this now. I really want to see if they can get this done, because all they have to do now is mess with the tar. And a lot of it is still just chilling on the ground right here. We're gonna find out. We're up at 60. I think it had 60 to begin with. And remember that most of it is still sitting here in the rubble. If they can manage to get this done, I will be very pleased with these beavers. Well, I always am, but more so. Got 68 in there. I imagine they're going to, you know, come back carrying that stuff. There it is. There it is. Oh, look at him go. Look at him go. 99. Come on. Where's that last one? Give me that last piece of tar. It looks like we've got it. All right. That is fantastic. All we have to do is get this last 5% of stuff built up, and we'll be in good shape. And then I will give them back their 16-hour workday. Look at that. All right. Good job. And right on time. So this will immediately, upon bad tide occurrence, slam up. There should be, because I tested this, I'm going to be absolutely apoplectic if this does not work. But that should solve that problem. I am a little worried about the amount of... okay. They didn't get this finished, and I... oh, like a fool, I cut off the working hours without checking on this. Well, it's not the end of the world. It's just going to be kind of annoying. I'll have them keep working. We do have the ability to put them in contaminated beaver jail or on the Twirl and Hurl 5000, so they can become decontaminated quite easily. I'm just, you know, really curious about this, because I didn't think it was going to be that big of an issue because of the whole, hey, the fall limit's not a thing anymore and it can just flow super easy. And I said, yeah, that's going to be great. But now what if it isn't? Well, it'll be interesting anyway, so we'll take a look here. Still a ton of stuff to get to, and some of that does directly relate to this, so we'll address that in a moment. But I just want to see what has happened here. I don't know if there's anybody else who was down here working on this. Yeah, I really wish they would have done those first, but I can't really complain. Okay, so here we are coming up on the bad tide. How long is it going to be, and what is going to happen? 4 days. Okay. So, I am going to hit pause before we go too much further. Like, this is going to come through here, and as it flows out this way, it probably will back up a little bit first. Yeah, this is coming in here. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to let the beavers keep going. We may end up having to... Okay, they haven't actually done these yet. I'm going to hit pause on constructing this piece of dynamite because when I set these all off, I want to still be able to have the beavers walk over here in case I have to dynamite this entire thing down 2 blocks. But yeah, you can already see if I turn this on here, it is directly underneath these things. It's already up to the point where it is filling up the cavern. And this here has... Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're already threatening to overflow. I'm hoping if it does that, it's just very, very... Yeah, very, very temporary. So we do have some coming in. Yeah, you know, I really should have planned a little bit better for this. Because this is already going to overflow a little bit. These are going to come through here, you know, crash into each other and then overflow a little bit because of that. But then it should being the operative term, calm down a little bit. Yeah, but this works. And there is not a drop, not 1 iota of poison water over here. That is good. I'm glad we're able to take care of that. It's just that this is, just a little unfortunate. Just a tiny bit. No, yeah, that's going to get worse before it gets better. Because this is completely full and it's getting back up here. These guys are going to be extremely unwell. Now, if they are not dumb, they will not step on the explosions. Alright, so we did make it possible for that to escape sooner from that side. Yeah, you know, okay, that's a little bit more than I would have preferred, but I think it's about to stop. I say as it gets worse. Okay, well, you know, the only way you can learn stuff in a game like this is by doing. So, today we are learning. And one of those things we're learning is that this wasn't actually that stupid of an idea, was it? Not that I want to gloat or anything, but they are in fact going to be able to get some bad water out here, and we absolutely want to make sure they can do that. Alright, I just desperately need this to pull back, please, and thank you. That one did. This one should follow. Okay, so that took, I guess if this is the start of the bad tide, that took about 20% of a day. So, you know, all things considered, could have been a lot worse. I do think it's going to be necessary to get this also blasted down, but I don't have enough dynamite right now. So we need to make sure that we set all of these things back to what they were doing before, since we no longer need to be making a ton of tar, because we solved a problem that was making the nitroglycerin that we do need to make dynamite. And this one was making basic balm, or medical balm. That's what it's called now. Alright, so the dynamite, I believe, was being made here, and it is... oh, of course, it's waiting on paper. Alright, well, I guess we can turn that back on. And I'm just... You know, this was the main thing that I was, like, really, really pressed about. I'm like, well, am I going to be able to solve that problem? Well, it turns out we did, so thank you to everybody who warned me about that. I do appreciate it. This, unfortunately, is just going to kind of stay poisoned for a while. There's no clean water pushing it in, and when the clean water does come back in, it's probably just as likely that it goes out that way as it does to push through this way. Because remember, the only sources for clean water we have are going to be here and here. And all of that is going to come through every which way. And then there's going to be clean water. Okay, they're going to die in 10 days, but that's alright. We need irrigation over here, and I've got some ideas for that. Yeah, we can do better. But at least we have this set up, which we know is going to be something. And these pumps are going to keep pumping, which is going to lower the overall level and theoretically draw some stuff over here. So why don't we take the opportunity... since we... I can't have that zoomed in. I'm going to lose my mind. We can kind of encourage water to flow through here by lowering... underneath all of these straws. I only have 5 explosives right now, so if we did that with the help of maybe these middle... I'll do these middle 4 right here, and what that's going to do is push it, or not push it, pull it rather, the flow into these things, and also more toward these bad water pumps, which are actually working however slow they may be going. So, you know, we'll turn this into an opportunity to get something good out of it. But I do think also this is completely capped off. We don't need to talk about that. I do want to divert that into a tunnel at some point because, yes, while this is a way to just block stuff off, I still really don't prefer doing it that way. We have the opportunity here, as somebody said in the comments, to close these off a little bit further in, now that we know that the levees can actually be built inside of a tunnel, which I think is hilarious that the game allows you to do that. But yeah, we're gonna have to maybe do that. Do I want to do it right now? I don't know. Probably not, but at the same time, something is telling me it's not gonna make that big of a difference. I will want to do that during a good tide, clean water, whatever you want to call it, because if I take this out now, then obviously we're going to have poison. And if this is always going to be poisoned until the end of this bad tide, then that would actually be a good way to help flush this out also, removing this. So, you know, we do have mistakes, but we also have opportunities when we make those mistakes. Let's hit K for kaboom. That will let these guys keep pumping, slowly bring some of that bad water through here. And then eventually it'll get all cleaned out. I don't know that a 3-day bad tide is going to be enough to really do a crazy amount of damage. But, you know, we can only do what we can only do. Okay. I'm going to let this continue coming in. I know we really need to pull this out and redo it, but it's not as pressing of an issue right now to make me really that worried about it. But if we did, then we could remove this weird lodge setup and have this slightly more optimized. Again, not a life or death issue, just one of those things that's like, man, sure would be nice if I didn't have that set up that way. But I digress. We now have this all integrated over here. This -5 isn't actually that bad, because remember, a lot of those are going to be taken care of from that. Now, regarding connecting this power plant here, one of the things I was trying to do last episode was getting this connected over here, which we had not done because I was worried about the beavers getting exploded, because beavers love to get exploded. Now that that is not as big of an issue, we can come by here and get this hooked up. That is set to connect here, which it will do. And I think I can just very safely get those two hooked up together. And then from here, this has to go into somewhere else. Currently, this setup was just here because it was a place it could go without being a tremendously annoying way to get it hooked up. We don't have to leave it here. We don't even have to leave this workshop here. We can remove it. It probably should be removed. And instead, pieces of it used to build this one. Get it all concentrated in one spot. We can build better storage, better organization, so on and so forth. Oh, hey, there's a little thing of scrap metal here. So, this is currently making metal blocks. We have 184. I'm going to let them finish this one, and I think I'm going to demolish it and start reconfiguring this this area if we can. Come on, and done. All right, so that's gone, which also means that, and yes, the geothermal engine, come on, is gone. We need to rotate it anyhow. This large pile of scrap metal can go literally anywhere else. And then I think... Oh, hello, me. The rudimentary sawmill is going to need to go somewhere that is closer to where trees are being grown or closer to where sawdust is being demanded. Even though sawdust is being used at this log gnawing station. I think the bigger problem is sawdust being needed to make paper, which this is currently here because paper is being used for all of these things. So, we also have the tree farm over here, not too far away, and depending on how we want to do things, we could replace one or more of these zipline pylons with a station that would allow them to get in here. This is, remember, just kind of a satellite from this thing. We've got options, but I do think it probably would make sense to move our plank production to be over here. Or at least to have a plank production over here. It doesn't have to be, you know, perfect all the time. But, oh, the gnawing hall is also an option. Yeah. The input on this is... It's such a frustrating location. Oh, where am I going to stick this? I know what some of you probably want to tell me where to stick it, but that's fine. We're going to move on. This is not going to be a great setup here. Okay, so maybe I don't want to put it here. Also, in case it's not clear, like I'm making jokes when I refer to stuff like that. Like I don't actually think everybody, you know, hates the way that I do things or hates me as a person. It's gamesmanship most of the time. So don't feel like I'm trying to call anybody out. It's just banter. But it has to be said because, you know, tone is hard to detect through the internet, and I don't ever want anybody to think that I actually actively dislike them when that's not the case. All right, so we're filtering here. That's working out. There isn't any more leaking. That seems to be fine. Yeah, it's just the paper is such an issue that it just feels like it would be a good idea to fix that doing something else. All right, I have tools to make this. Yeah, I do. All right, so this will get taken care of. This will get emptied again. I completely want to redo all of this. We'll put the vertical power shafts over this. I think makes sense. Or what I could do, no. It's just the constrictive nature of how these power shafts are modularized. That's not even a word, is it? This mod is Not how I'm used to playing since they, you know, took care of that in the base game, but that's fine. All that to say, the rudimentary sawmill has to go somewhere else. And I just don't know. Wait, no. We have to put it here. You know why? Because now I got Albuquerque stuck in my head. Architect's Lodge consumes planks. Alright, well, you want ugly, you're gonna get it. I can promise you that. Where can I put this thing directly adjacent to a power shaft that's not gonna cause a bunch of problems? Because I also, you know, probably can't have the building completely underwater. Would not be a wise choice. So, why don't we do this? We have platforms, we have logs to build crappy platforms. I'm not going to lose any sleep over building crappy platforms anywhere, but I do want this to be usable. If I rotate this, move this up one block, then we can actually share the same staircase for this. It might actually have issues with that. It might have to go one more out, but that's not going to be a problem. So moving this up one would necessitate that this horizontal T intersection become a universal. 200. Oh, I got enough science for this. That's seems like this is a worthy thing to unlock after all of the grief this thing has caused me. So that's what we're gonna do. We'll just get that popped in place, and then what I can do there is put a downward power shaft on the top of that, and then cover these things up with, you know, I should be good and build these things correctly, even if it costs me more. So that will take care of getting that done, and then we'll be able to use, unless I have made a tremendous mistake, suspension bridge, put in like that, and you know, I could even put a little storage pile here for let's make a storage pile for, oh come on, sawdust, because that is probably going to be the most irritating thing to have to deal with. But that will near term solve this problem, make it slightly less terrible. And obviously this is still going to want something up here, but we will get there when we get there. I've got 129 planks. I guess I could go ahead and deconstruct this, but I don't think we're in a rush. The log gnawing stations can and should go almost anywhere else. We'll get there when we get there. I want to make sure. Who's blocked by bat? Oh, that's the showers in this thing. That's fine. Just want to make sure that as this is being pumped out, clean water and bad water, that it's still going to flow through here fine when we... Alright, we're good. I need to stop worrying about it. These are being harvested. That's good, because we are still going to be running out of berries. Okay, now's a good time to talk about another thing. I really liked the idea... I forget who it was who posted it. I'm sorry, but... blasting this down to be a little holding tank for all of this permanent irrigation is a great idea. I like it a lot, and I want to do it, but I'm obviously not going to do it while we have bad water in here. And, you know, I'm really glad I didn't, because now it would have just been full of bad water forever, and that would not have been great. So that's why we have not done that yet. We will, at some point, do that, but we'll get there when we get there. So this is already... seems like it's going to be working out fine. Don't need to keep coming back to it, but I, you know, just by nature am very prone to being paranoid about these things. Pine resin was here. Why? Is that just because it was a place that was being used? Because this doesn't go into... Oh, no, that was probably for the screw press. No, that has nothing to do with the screw press. Alright, well, I guess I'm just nuts. This can be moved. I don't want any of these here. Screw press axles don't have a storage besides this one. And there is no press over here. There is a press over here. Where can I put a storage for screw press axles without it being a huge pain in the butt? Alright. Well, the easy thing to do is to stick one over there. those go... Oh, do they go in a warehouse or a pile? I can never remember. Looks like the answer is a pile. Alright. So that will be the new home for screw press axles, which means I can empty that. This is already empty, so that can go away. Pile for planks and logs will not need to be there if this is not here. So as soon as this other one is... Oh! Well, that was quick. Alright, you know what that means. You're at 0%. Oh, I can't delete it because there's stuff on top of it. Crew saw blades, goodbye. Path, goodbye. Building, goodbye. Stairs, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. This is also goodbye. Now I need to have storage for these things and... Oh! I already do. Okay, where is that? Did I put that over somewhere useful, like over here? No? Or is it over here? Oh, it's probably... Okay, 25. Where's... Alright, you know what? I need to just not worry about it. I need to just do this. Utilize all these platforms I've been complaining about, you know, not having enough of forever. And just put in some more storage. I don't think I can get away with putting something on this side of that, so we won't try it. I will just do this. Do those go in a... Again, I never remember what these go in. Okay. Pile there. That also doesn't need to stay in that spot. These are not good permanent things. But I can absolutely put a little one right here because this is actually using it. That is fine. That can be set to supply. Slowly, slowly, slowly helping solve issues. Even if we create other ones in the process. Just don't worry about that. Empty. Empty. Emptying. I don't really have any other storage for it, so I guess we'll just use it as it comes up. This is not connected. This one is set to making drill bits, which it is not making because we don't have enough sunflower oil. We'll have to do supply stuff for that. Might as well just continue making metal blocks. We'll get this connected. No, we won't because you can't put those here. That was why I was going to build that out. I forget. Alright. So this has been removed. We already talked about that. This is now no longer powering anything. Depending on how we want to route this, I don't necessarily have to remove this one, but this one facing this way was going to be a non-starter. Alright. Power for this comes out on the bottom. It can either come through here and be put over, or it's going to have to be something else, because getting across the chasm is not really going to be easy, especially since, to my knowledge, yeah, you can't do that. You're going to have a overhang walkway and overhang walkway connecting. That's not going to work on here because obviously, so I think I may be able to put an overhang walkway off of the... No, that was apparently too much of an ask, but I can stack it on top of here. What? Skewer platform? Okay, that is our solution right there. Is this the most beautiful thing ever? Absolutely not. But again, it's going to be okay. We don't have to live or die by something being the most beautiful, perfect solution ever. I would prefer that we use regular platforms instead of the logs, but we don't have enough regular platforms. Talked about this. Yeah, I just need more Architect's Lodges, honestly, and I don't have anywhere really good to put them. Because it's, I know, don't rely on just using it as stairs, but it just works. Unlike Skyrim for Samsung Smart Fridge. But, all jokes aside, I need to put this, I need more of these. I need more of these, and I don't have anywhere to put them. Is what it is. I can create room by demolishing some of these things, or reorganizing them, but, you know... Not necessarily a super easy process. So why don't we do this? We've got a spot right here that is really ugly weird anyway. What if we just used regular crappy platforms, because I don't want to sit here and wait for a billion years for this to get done. and I put in 18 of these, that is going to be... That's a couple hundred logs. I only have 9 regular platforms, and I think it's going to make sense to do this way. I don't know. Let's start with this. Let's start with 1. And then put in a... Hide that. Put in a... What do you call it? Here. Where we can have a... Oh, I don't even need this. Okay, that makes sense. That works. All I've got to do is just have these kind of still connectable. Ladders? Yes. Yes, ladders. Put that there. I realize that this is very ugly. Yes. But it will be okay. I just need something to... I just need to make scaffolding, man. Oh, I just need scaffolding. This is just architecture nonsense land right here. We'll get it done. Okay, now this is spread considerably, and this is, of course, the riverbed blocked by bad water. That's fine. You know, it's not over a concentration, so I guess it's alright. We do have more dynamite that I would like to probably go ahead and do maybe start here, because these are the most annoying ones to place. I had 11, that would be... Oh, there's a ladder here. Okay, I will need to remove that ladder because I don't think I can even get to this anymore. Yeah, okay. That is something I should have done a long time ago. And did that put that in a stupid location? Yes, it absolutely did. You know, I would expect nothing else from the beaver game, to be perfectly honest with you. Let's just do a little bit of power shaft motivation. Alright, solves that problem. I was also told that putting the crate storage house here was unwise, and you know, you're probably right. We could relatively easily, cheaply replace those with a primitive dam with a crosspiece here. That would achieve the same thing. But now we have all these logs and all these fasteners. Well, fasteners aren't the problem, but logs could be an issue, and then I'd have to remove these. So it's something we can do. I don't know that it's something we will do, but it's something that we can do. That is a good solution. Alright, this, once again, is waiting on sawdust. This is supposed to be making sawdust. Putting that right here I thought was going to help, but I guess it hasn't caught up yet. If I'm going to spend the resources on improving dams, I'd rather it be over here. So let's get the upgrade researched. 200 science. Yeah, this is exactly why I did this way. This one increases the height there. And importantly, will also funnel more water through here, which is what we wanted. Now, I don't need the upgrade to go on this side. I just need the regular dam to go, and I could put 2 right like this. This is not necessary to have here anymore. And I do want to hold as much water along as much of this as I can, so that is going to end up going, I guess, right about here. Oh, come on, I clicked in the wrong spot. That, there, and there. This will be, I guess, technically inaccessible unless I prioritize it, and then the, you know, beavers may or may not come and get it. And if they don't, then it goes away, and that's, you know, it's fine. That's the way it goes. Alright, this stuff here, metal fasteners they can't really use. Alright, we got this connected. Oh, they built this. I wasn't exactly intending for that to stay there. Well, I guess it's fine. This covered walkway intersection is going to have to go away because of the way this works. And if we can marginally improve the rate of scaffolding construction, then I will commit to no longer building crappy ones. That being said, for the time being, it's not likely that will be the case. But I will put a universal shaft here, and then attached to that, because I can still get behind here, I will just run regular power shafts at ground level until we get to the point where we want to do so. We can always build on top of this. It's not that big of a deal. We're not so pressed for space that it's impossible or anything. But I do want to make sure that we're not being completely insane about this. What else? What else? What else? Well, I guess these are doing pretty good business, so I shouldn't really be too upset about that. This has almost been pumped low enough. to not be able to flow through here, which I guess is probably about the best outcome we could have. I did talk about fixing, quote-unquote, fixing this, which is going to help them drain the rest of the bad water out. I guess it's alright. It's working out okay. This, of course, is waiting on paper because everything's waiting on paper because that's how it works. This is waiting on sawdust, looks like. So, you know how it goes. Are these guys still making... Okay, that's making screw press axles. Oh, they're both making screw press axles. That's right, I forgot. This one should just be making straight sawdust, but there's no... I should not have had that completely deprioritized. That will help solve that problem. You know what? We've had so many, shall we say, over-engineered, stupid solutions. Engineering being a very loosely used term here. Probably shouldn't be doing that quite so much. Yeah, they just have to wait for the paper. That's it. This can... Oh, they built that fast. All right. I guess they're going to work. Well, that's fine. We'll have this better equipped here. Someone else left a comment that I should put a dam here to prevent all of our bad water from leaving and let this thing run a little bit more during droughts. That is also a good idea, and we can do that with a variety of dams. I think I will probably just go with this one. Seems like that will work just fine. We could even upgrade because there's, you know, not really a depth restriction to this, but for right now this isn't a huge priority. I will place it, but I will deprioritize the construction, and I will also put the... Oh, I can't... There it is. I'll also put this up here as a super minimum construction. But that will give us a lot of extra bad water in here from which to pump during a drought, and I think that's a wise decision to make. It may also extend the contamination area over here, but... I guess it's probably fine. Okay, they haven't even started on that. I knew that was going to be a whole thing. Well, do note that I never promised this would be a quick thing. We're going to have the power shaft come through here, and then I imagine, because I can't move this, obviously, bring this around. Can I, Okay. Now, I don't want them to start building that, so I will have to remove it. Okay. That works. We will plan on doing that, and then bring that through here. And again, I know it's going to be super ugly, but it's going to be okay. Trust the process, etc. So that's going to get reoriented that way, so it's slightly less stupid. Bad tide is over, which means this opens. There is a little tiny bit of collateral damage there, but I'm not going to worry about it. That will be fine. Should have all of this start pretty soon, looking a lot better. So, once this drains the rest of this out, I will open this. Or I guess I could do it now because it's going to push it out anyway. Okay, that's already draining out. All right, we'll just wait. All right. So, away we go. And then I know that's going to have all sorts of stuff we don't necessarily want to get rid of, but I'm going to put this here, which is going to allow me to open this. And then once this one is built, I can put one here. And then that will just mean all of the bad water stays there, and that will give us a little bit more land that isn't contaminated. There's not really much else I can do here, short of coming in and doing tunnel gymnastics, which... You know... Oh, I should have done this before. Should have done this before, because now I have stupid ideas. Let's hit pause on this. Because if I do this and I block it off here and then here, I can save a lot more of this. Well... Not the end of the world if all the water flows through here for a little while. The bigger problem is going to be getting dynamite, because it also uses paper. The Architect's Lodge needs paper to be built, but it doesn't need it to be operated, which I guess tells you a lot about how much work the architects are getting done. Some bad water here, residual that was in that. That is, again, fine. It's not going to be a big deal. I was going to move the forester up here, and I did not. Okay, this is just a regular seep. It's not really going to have much hope of getting too much in there. Okay, I got to take care of a bunch of other stuff, or some of you guys are going to be a little upset with me. We have a lot of rice. We have not been turning the rice into anything, so I'm just going to swap this one because it's the easiest way to do it. Extra rice can get put into half-fermented sake, which we're not really using, but the beavers can drink if they feel like it. No further changes are going to be made over here for that for the time being. But I do think it's going to be necessary for us to start removing these water pumps. It'll also give us some stuff back. So I'm going to have to start removing these tanks. We'll empty them out. This is already an empty thing. Green pea storage. Just all of this can come out because we can have better solutions for all of this. We just need to be able to, you know, find a home for everything, right? You're not just going to dump it on the ground. Well, you could. I don't think that would be a great option, but could definitely do it. All right, now that this is uncovered, we can remove it. We can remove this. And then just keep on keeping on. This can be removed. Nobody got stranded, so that's good. There's nothing in here anyway. Nothing in here anyway. Nothing in here anyway. I will leave this because they do kind of need that, but these crappy platforms can be removed. Don't need them, don't need them, don't need them, don't need them, don't need them. Now look at all this stuff that we can get off the ground, huh? That is a good thing. Did that just light up? It did. That's cool. I did not know those did that. I don't know if that's just a white paws thing or not. But this is now operating. It can make more scaffolding. That is good. That means paper can be routed to make explosives, which will help us with our insane, ridiculous tunneling project that I have just started for no discernibly good reason except vanity. That will allow them to do basically all of that, and, you know, having the water come through here is fine. But when we get to about day 10 or so, we're not going to want that to be a thing anymore. Yeah, it's kind of static water over here, which I do fear is going to have a little bit of bad water in it, but this is going to flush it out eventually. Just a slow process. I won't say it because I know you don't want to hear it. Or maybe you do. That's fine too. Somebody said we could automate the fluid dump here with Bad Gary, but I kind of just want to leave it on all the time, because if you have this turned off and it only turns on when a bad tide starts, then the water level in here will already be low enough for bad water to start coming in. Which, in this scenario, the only way you could get that out would be to flush it through here. And you have to do that manually, and that's annoying, and I don't want to do that. This has still got stuff coming in here. We got 11-something days. Alright. So this is flowing. We're getting more land irrigated soon. Although I don't know that there can be any higher thing. Okay, so here's what I was going to talk about earlier. I know I got a billion things going on. We have the no longer super fertilizing irrigation tower bath, whatever it was called before. But this thing, I believe, have the things, yes. This is a great building because it serves a bunch of purposes at once, and it also gives you a plus 15% to plant growth. And we have confirmed that it also applies to trees. So, great thing to have in a tree farm area. Better thing to have in a, they're not called giant sequoias anyway, but better thing to have where you're growing these, because then that takes it from 50 days to 42 point something. 42 and a half days. That's a big difference for something like this. So, what is going to happen to make this an option is, well, one, we'll have to have a place for those, I'm probably just going to keep calling them giant sequoias in all honesty. We have to have a place for that to go. I think up here would not be a bad spot. This has a pretty good range, but you have to be careful what you place underneath it because that can cause problems. So I think, all else considered, this spot right here is a about the best place it could go. Actually, I'll put it here. So what it's going to do is give a little bit of a recreational purpose. It will have to be connected to ladders, probably, and then a path or a zipline station elevated somewhere, but I think this is worth the 300 science that it's doing right now. And get that built and just move on from there. Currently, there are trees planted in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, for the time being, connect it kind of haphazardly like this and just continue doing what we got to do. Maybe it's better to put a zipline thing in, but this doesn't have a zipline connection available for it. To my knowledge, if it does, please correct me. But this will work fine for what we're doing. It's going to boost some of these trees, and it's also, very importantly, going to irrigate. It does not decontaminate, but it does irrigate, and it will make this a very viable area. And this can be a tree nursery over here, maybe connected to the same path. Anyway, I should actually check. Tree nursery, here you are. This does not have a way to attach a upgrade to an upgrade. But that's alright. We'll get it figured out. And this is probably about as good of a spot for this as there is on this map, at least for the time being. So it is very possible that these Everblossoms will be removed to allow for that. But we also have all of this scrap metal here. There is a relic that will grant science, and that's actually in range. So let's go ahead and click on that. I know somebody mentioned that in the comments. I can't remember if that was that specific one and another one that is kind of reachable, or if that was something else I had misremembered. But it seems like for now that should be okay. Yeah, I'm feeling better about that than I have. How are we doing here on tunnel construction? Not great, huh? Too far from... Oh. Yeah, that's on me. That's on me not getting that hooked up. That's... Well, it's not fine, but it's fine enough. Okay, we got 19 scaffoldings. 19 scaffoldings. We can start building more of this to get power connected. I know you guys really want to see that. So, get this all the way down here to 10. We will double platform, and then they can build underneath. I'm only doing it this way because the path's already there, and this is fine. I'm going to have to do whatever anyway. You very well may disagree on priority of putting paths on bottom versus paths on top. That's totally okay. Not going to get mad at you for it. But this just has to get built. This here would be a good candidate for a horizontal T. Facing that way. Remember, now we get 3 of these every 14 hours, theoretically, instead of 2, so it's more justifiable to be able to do this. I really should, in all honesty, have this branch off here for that, so that's what we'll do. Just bring this over that way. This zigzag walkway will have to go away. This area down here, that's not the right one. This area down here now is looking pretty emptyable. Alright. This is empty, this is not, but it's going to be. That clay has nowhere to go. Well, what I will do for these things down here, if they are not empty, is I will just have them set to empty. And if they do not empty after some period of time, then we'll have to figure that out. But, you know, getting rid of all of this stuff and letting them pick it up off the ground, I think is fine. They will get it done, and if they don't, then, well, that's on them. Doesn't hurt me, just hurts them. And we can, of course, expand planting over here. We can remove some of these paths because we have zip lines. I wouldn't remove all of them, but that's something we can consider. This will do a lot to, well, not really solve, but maybe the right term is ameliorate. Tell me if I'm wrong. I like fun, fancy words. Let's just get this hooked up as fast as we can, because I know people are really wanting this to get sped along here. They can build this at whatever time they feel inclined to. I'm going to put this T intersection in here. No, it's going to have to go... Oh, I'm trying to remember how this works for T stuff. I guess the T facing this way is... Yeah. That's going to be fine, and then I'll have that one go the other way. Yeah, I want to be able to run power shafts in other directions if I feel like it. I think that will work here. Okay, so T intersection going this way, that goes that way, that goes that way, that goes that way, that goes that way, and then that should being the operative term, go that way. Now, since I don't have any buildings built here, I will just have this go straight down to the ground. We can always redo it later. Not the end of the world. And because these really aren't heinously expensive otherwise, I'll just put that in. That can go that way. How many more times can this guy say that way? Well, I don't know. Alright, that's going to make a huge, huge, huge difference. And I know it's going to take him time to do that, but we are no stranger to that on this channel. That is for absolutely sure. The covered walkway here I think is great because it gives these guys a boost, but it doesn't have to be here, nor does the White Paw Gazette. So, the most appealing path for this to go is still to go this way. So, that is what I will do, and we can figure out the rest of that later. Just would like this to be as uncomplicated as possible. I'll do a T intersection here. That can go... yeah, what the heck, we'll go this way. Do that, and then do that, and then do that. And then we can do that. Then I can do that, and then we'll just get that hooked up when they get that taken care of. But that should connect all of this. Not to over here, but that's fine because this is still making plenty of power and that hasn't been a problem. What are we doing over here? Okay, good progress being made. That seems fine. And I will let them take all of these out. Obviously, they have tons of stuff to pick up off the ground, but this might be a little bit more important because they can pick up the other stuff at any time, but I want to seal this off as soon as I can. We're only on day 2, really? Alright, well that's what happens when you play in single time speed. Yeah, like I said, I want this to be perfectly clean before I commit to blasting stuff out, but it seems like this is going okay. Maybe it would be a good time to do that. Maybe I should change this to something else. Not entirely sure. But, oh wow, they built that quick. I honestly was not expecting that to be a thing. Okay. This zipline station is not connected to anything else, so why don't we just do the simple, thank you autosave, simple solution of... Wait, this can't reach. Is this a range issue? No, it is a line obstructed by... Wait, what? Really? By trees? Is it seriously obstructed by trees? Or is it obstructed by building? No, it's obstructed by building. Okay. Why is the game paused for this? You don't have to have the game paused for this. Look, it's going to be alright. Line obstructed by tree... Seriously? Ugh, alright. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we use some of this newfound knowledge of logsmithing to have this put up on a crappy platform and then reached up that way. I know we're still going to have to put up a pillar somewhere between all this, but that will... Wait, no, because it's 30 if it's between two of these. Alright. That works. And that will allow us to have better access here. And all I've got to do is put in a ladder on this side, one of these sides. I guess it doesn't really matter, but it does have to be connected physically to the path. Now, probably want to have water storage over here at some point too, but no reachable tiles to irrigate. What? What do you mean there's no reachable tiles to irrigate? Or is that just because there's no water in it? Let's try pausing and unpausing. No? That seems like that can't possibly be right. That there's no reachable tiles. Does it have to be prioritized? I don't know. We'll come back and check on that. I know there's a lot of idiosyncrasies with some of this stuff just because of the insane gymnastics that have had to occur to get this mod to work. Alright, so that can be sealed off. I always want to click on that. There we go. They have made a really commendable amount of progress on this in a very short time. I'm feeling pretty good about that. What about over here? Oh boy, you know what time it is. It is time to get the rest of this stuff picked up off the ground, and then... Okay, it looks like it's actually mostly waste rock for right now. This can be removed. I should be able to reach both of these. I need to block this off. If it's just waste rock, I'm not going to cry about it. That is fine. Oh, dirt storage was a concern. Somebody said the dirt storage was full. I don't think that was the case. But good looking out. Always appreciate it. Let's do levee there. And if this is indeed all waste rock, then guess what we can do is we can pop this in. And then that will, you know, not completely solve our problems, but it will make things considerably better. Especially if this has clean water in it constantly, which it will. I think we can be pretty happy with that. Alrighty. So that has gone well. This is... Okay, see now it's actually irrigating. It's a utilized potential 30.8%. Yep, that's the way it goes. But I think there's not really going to be that many places on this map we could use this to its fullest potential without completely... Like, remember, there's like 2/3 of the map we haven't even gotten to at all. We've had absolutely no ability to get over there. This is already making a big difference. I am going to move the forester, like I said. We just hadn't done it. That goes here, and that goes bye-bye. This can get crappy platforms because it doesn't matter. And then this can be upgraded, which I had mentioned could be a decent place to put one of those zipline upgrades, depending on how much more of a hub thing we wanted to do over here. Or we don't have to put anything on it right now, but we could. So I guess this is where you guys come in. You could let me know what you want to have placed on top of here. That would be very helpful. Did they finish building this? They built one of them. That's fine. They can continue doing that. And the forester could not reach all the way up here. This one can have actually a little bit less range. So I wonder if I put a zipline tower on this, if it would increase the range enough to be a thing. Because this could actually still connect to a zipline tower on this without having to disconnect from here. I can't overuse the term sickeningly curious, or else it's going to lose its meaning, but for lack of a better way to say it, I am sickeningly curious. That is, hold on, not the right thing. So until it's built, I'm not going to know. Well, if I put this here, then I could just remove this, and it's going to be no loss. Okay. Well, I know I asked you guys to tell me what you want to see here, but I guess at this point now we can turn it into a, would you like to see something else badly enough that it's worth tearing this station out and replacing it? That seems like that would be fine. Well, actually, you know what this also lets us do is connect this to something else, maybe further down here, which might be a good idea to get this connected. You know, actually, I think that's good. You are always free to disagree. I am never going to tell you you cannot. So, appreciate your input on that. I think now we can come in and continue deepening this. I know this is already detonated, so let's K-Frick boom. Or, not already detonated, already laid down. Anything that would help us avoid a tremendous amount of beaver suffering and contamination, I think, is a smart thing. I think that's more dynamite than I already have available. This is waste rock. Don't care about waste rock. I am curious to see where it's going to dump this once I completely fill up this tunnel, though. Oh, it looks like it already went top side. Oh, okay. Right here. And, oh, it disintegrates in 0.3 days. Alright, we don't have to care about it. We are waiting on scaffolding. No surprise there. Let's, you know, since we're having such a fun time with this, let's go ahead and put in another Architect's Lodge, because I know, you know, we might not need them long term, but, you know, if you need it right now, you need it right now. That's why people pay a premium for overnight delivery. Well, I guess maybe not individuals pay so much of a premium. Businesses, though, you better believe you need something, like, you know, right now, then you'll pay basically whatever it costs to do it. Oh, how I love tax deductions. Unrelated. So, we've got this mostly cleared up. I do want to start consolidating the scrap metal. That's going to require we research these giant storage piles. We have to have the high temperature foundry to make the glass. We don't have that. We're not going to have that for a while. Oh, I know we talked about ENS stuff. I know we got to start doing that. I don't have... Oh, I've got 100 library books. That's really good because those are used for trade. I don't know that we were using those for... Oh, we are, for exotic seeds. So this actually should be... They should be prioritized by haulers because then we could have had all of our seeds for our tree nursery right now. Okay, don't think about that too much. You're just going to get upset. I'm saying to me, not to you. Okay. What was I going to... Oh, I was going to check the recipe on the screw press. Oh, 200. All right. What storage do the books go in? Is that glorious storage? That's for the set. The set is glorious storage. Okay. So I'm assuming that means... You know what happens when you assume. It goes in a warehouse. So, why don't we... Yeah, why don't we put a warehouse next to what is actually using it? Why can I not library book? Hold on. Don't tell me library books go in a pile. That's not what you do with your books. No. Can I just not store books, or do they go in a scroll display? Okay, fair enough. Scroll display actually does make sense for a library book storage. Alright, we will have to have a... Just had a brain blast. Okay, I would like to officially apologize to everyone who kept saying that this would work, and I kept telling them no. So this does work. I just hadn't connected from the side. I think somebody left a comment to that effect. And I may or may not have just said, alright, well, I don't need to mess with that. But now we can have a storage for library books at the library that this can connect to, and that is actually a fantastic thing. I'm so glad that works. Okie dokie, this is under construction. Needs scaffold. Of course it needs scaffolding. Everything needs scaffolding. Come on, man. Well, that is going to be, hopefully, a nice improvement here. This is contributing to all sorts of goodness there. Why don't... Of course... scaffolding, man. I'm telling you. Once this gets disconnected, I should be able to just put a couple of these in, and again, without having any other stations in the middle, because we don't need them yet. That connect to that. That'll be nice. This is getting closer. That's fine. This is not getting closer because we're waiting on them, I guess, to continue working on other construction things. I don't know. I'm having these beavers do a whole lot, and they objectively don't need to be doing quite so much. There was another storage. I think it was rope storage, actually, that I said I was going to build, and I didn't, and now I've deleted most of the rope storage. I think the only rope storage... How many times can I say rope storage is over... No, it's not over here. It should be in front of the rope maker. It does not look like there is any rope storage. Okay, well I cannot have the storage be flooded, so it would need to be up on a spot that could be unflooded. And wow, can I do that without doing scaffolding, of course. Alright, so maybe I should have just built like 18 of these things and been done with it. Yep, this is only waiting for 8 scaffolding. Okay, well I guess this is now the most important project to be built, but I don't think I need to prioritize it because all I have left to do on that is paper. Logs getting picked up off the ground is not the biggest priority ever. Pencil set storage is the thing, because I know I got rid of a bunch of storage here. Cabbages, surprisingly, are looking a little thin at the moment. Can this... Okay, Harvester's Cottage can actually reach almost all of this, so I guess I'll just let these berries continue spreading here. These can probably be moved at some point. I don't know that I want to necessarily commit to that. Braised cabbage production here actually does make a lot of sense. I feel like this explosives thing does not have to be here. I know there's all sorts of, you know, micro improvements we could be making, but I'll be content to just kind of have stuff that mostly works for the time being. Like I said, pencil set storage. Oh, there is no dedicated pencil set storage without this. Alright, those are being made here. Where can I put a pencil set storage that actually makes sense? Well, what I could do that might actually be a smart thing is... Look at this popular thing that I'm absolutely going to cause chaos by disconnecting. This can be a ladder instead. Yes, I know that takes scaffolding that's going to cause problems, but having this be a ladder will also allow me to come over here with crappy platforms and make a storage for some stuff. Yeah, that's about the only place I could put that. Unless I wanted to... Oh, see, here's how I get myself in trouble. Because I think that makes sense. That's a good idea. And then I, you know, do something that may not be advisable. Because it causes other problems. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to not build that there. I'm going to instead put it here. And then put... Yes, I know. Put that there. And then I can get 2 medium warehouses in. This one can be for pencil sets, and this one can be for... How much dynamite storage do I have? I don't even see any of it because it's just immediately going away. Anyway, this just makes more sense. Notice I did not say it made sense objectively. It just makes more sense on a scale of negative infinity to positive infinity. Which, negative infinity plus 1 is still more sense than negative infinity. Just keep that in mind. Okay, this is working. This is slowly getting connected up here. This is not going to be that big of a deal. We only have a couple of these things left to actually get done. Got a lot of methane. Alright, so that's looking good. We know why they're using the dynamite, of course. They're putting all this in here. This is actually fully connected. Let's K for kaboom. And then, of course, they have to put these in because, of course, they do. But it's only day 5. If we have another bad tide coming up, then that won't be a problem. It's triple speed. Things are looking all right. We're still not, you know, using that much of the rice. I probably don't want to put any more fermentation houses in because that's just going to keep raising the population. In fact, we need to be reducing the population if at all possible. Okay, neither of these have been built, so that's why the stairs are still there. Looks like this is waiting on what else but scaffolding. Waiting on logs. Oh, I need to prioritize those by haulers. I should have done that a long time ago. Not that I think that's exactly why this has been terrible, but gotta get it done. Still no scaffolding here. Well, at least this still works for the time being. It's all looking alright. Still looking okay. At least we have more seeds coming in. Where is... There it is. Tree nursery. 1,000 science. That's going to take us a little bit of time to get. I think the ENS is 2,000 science. But besides the science, the 50 seeds, rope tools not going to be an issue. Water's not going to be an issue. Dirt's not going to be an issue because we've been collecting it, which is a great boost to have because that means we don't have to have the drills yet. Yeah, everything else should be fine. Just have to have the science. Now the ENS also requires, like I said, 2,000 science. It may, depending on how this shakes out, it may actually make more sense to get the ENS first. I can't see the top recipe, but the science recipe from the ENS is a lot faster. The problem is, I've been making library books this whole time to try and trade here, and I've not been making any science. So I may have to, since the storage has not even been built, go ahead and swap this back over to the fast science recipe. And then actually have them start researching the ENS blueprints. You have to have a mechanical and an architectural blueprint. And let's just check the recipes for this. Zipline, irrigating, giant log, large farmhouse. Of course, this is this last one, isn't it? Okay. If we're making the tea, we shouldn't have any problem doing this except, you know, just paper being a huge pain in the butt. And then this should also be ENS. Mechanics Lodge. We are making gears. We have 108. I feel comfortable going ahead and starting the mechanical blueprint because, oh, hey, battery smooth. We're not desperate for gears at this exact moment in time. Oh, this is all connected now. Nice. Okay, that's really going to help. That is going to help a lot because now we have enough to do both of these at the same time, and we have 1,000 left over. No, that can't be right. Oh, no, it is right because we have this one, and then these two down here, so we have 1,000 extra HP. Oh, maybe I was a little premature moving the sawmill out of the way, but at the same time, you know what takes 1,000 HP? Is this bad boy. Now, we don't have giant logs, and we will not for T minus T plus, whatever the correct numbering is, 50 days. Or 42.5 days because of the growth thing on that other side of it. Anyway, we're a long way off from actually using this, but this makes this viable in this same or similar power network. And we could expand it to go over closer to where those not giant sequoias anymore are being grown. Outside of that, we also have the high temperature foundry, which requires a degree from the ENS, which we have not yet built. Wait, does this require a degree? No, it does not. Of course not. Assembly line would be a great building to put up here, and it's not oppressively expensive. It's just 800 science, and all the materials are not going to be crazy hard to get. Maybe 100 gears is the most annoying part about that. But this allows us to make bot parts. You will note that in Waterbeavers, the bots are only haulers, and they only require bot parts. There are no separate delineations for whatever bot parts or which is just bot parts. But the assembly line can make screw press axles. It can make pencil sets. It can make tools. It can make all these things that are really annoying to make all by themselves. And it is a good building. And I believe it can be stacked. It should be able to be stacked still. And we may find ourselves not behind the wheel of a large automobile, but instead building a whole bunch of those things somewhere over here where we can stack them. That is not a today thing. But just keep that in mind. We have enough extra power right now to build 3 of those with no measurable inconvenience. All right, I do want to, I know we're getting to about the point where these episodes usually end. I do want to make sure that this can get taken care of and not be a big deal. So I will wait for them to finish that. We are making these pretty quickly. Oh, this is done. Good. Let's do this. Let's disconnect that and instead connect that here for the time being. I'm not going to remove this yet, but we could just go here to here and have it be a thing, but this is already here and it doesn't make sense to get rid of it. Now what this is done, click on the right thing, please. This has expanded considerably our forester's range. I don't know why I worded my words in that order, but is what it is. This allows us to take advantage of, wow, a lot more of this. Well done, beavers. Well done. So I will add This to here. And the lumberjack's barn can actually reach... Okay, not quite all of this. But that's okay, because eventually this will be a tree nursery area. And we should be able to, you know, I should not have planted underneath this. But see that minus 15% of the growth time that's there and not on this one? Boy, oh boy, is this going to be fantastic when we have those no longer giant, there you go. All right, JFK, calm down. Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys. Oh boy, that, what an irreverent show, honestly. I digress. That's a tangent I don't want to go down. We can keep Everblossoms down here. That's totally fine. And we can put in the giant golden sequoias, whatever you want to call them up here. And that will be probably that. But I did, unfortunately, not remember to keep this clear to have a path coming out here for the tree nursery. So I will go ahead and reserve that, and you guys can yell at me to look at this in about 10 days, because we get that really nice 15% growth boost. All right, that's looking good. That's looking good. Now I just have to check this again, and oh yeah, we're making nice progress. Okay, for kaboom. We got 5 more of those to go, and then I do want to come in here, and I think, since we might as well, because it's going to be free, and we can probably only do this once, put in the quadruple dynamites to the tune of 9 of them, which will bring the floor of that down from this block down to this one, this one, this one, one more below this one. I don't have another one to point at. That is potentially going to irrigate a lot more of this in an emergency situation. And it doesn't have to be pumpable. It's just a, you know, a little bonus treat for all the plants down here. So you love to see that. That is empty, which means it is one more. For those, that's going well. We've got storage for pencil sets here. I can remove this, and in its place put a crappy platform. That does not matter because we've got a ton of... Oh, those are facing different directions. No, 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 no. Can't do it. Cannot do it. Put that other warehouse in here immediately and set it to dynamite. Even if we don't need that much dynamite storage. It'd be nice to have. Okay, so that has made things so much better. We can continue stacking storages here, not an issue. Do I have... Yes, chestnuts in there, fine. Rice is being turned into half-fermented sake very slowly, except this doesn't have enough water. That should be prioritized by haulers. This poor beaver has been contaminated, probably because of a choice that I made. We're just going to ignore that and move on. These now, in theory, do not ever have to exist again, but I will keep them because, you know, stupid things can always happen. And being prepared is very good. In terms of tanks, I don't want to build a gigantuan tank because it is a 30-slot house. So instead, we're just going to... Oh, I got bushes in the way. We're going to unceremoniously yeet 'em, delete 'em, and put in 2 more tanks right here just because it makes sense to have tanks. I don't think it's going to create a clearance issue with the zipline, although the upgraded pumps might. We will see. But now that this is in place, I do want to try and get more of these. Yeah, see, that's blocked pretty severely. That isn't. Can I get... Okay, that's not going to be quite in range, but I can build from the bottom. I just have to be able to build from the top. I'll tell you what we're going to have to do. I'm going to put in a double platform here. And I'll put that... Don't tell me that's not going to fit there. I'm going to have to move over one. Alright, well, see, that's why we test this. I'll put this here. Right at 20 meters. Okay, above the trees. The reason putting that here is fine for now is because we have not yet gotten to the point where we have the giant golden whatever sequoias. That will have to be rerouted when those grow because they do get taller than this, but that will allow me to, in theory, get this to, I guess, here. Should be about the maximum distance. Is that 20? It is. And then from there, I can take advantage of all of this space. Looks like that is going to be about as close as that can get. We don't need a station here because we don't need it. And there you go. So that'll complete the circle, so to speak, around here. It's going to take them some time to get to this because they probably won't be able to build this from below. In fact, I know they won't, and they probably cannot walk to this. I think it's just a tiny bit outside of their range. So instead of sitting here and complaining about it, I'm just going to make the executive decision to remove these 2 tree seedlings because it really does not matter. Get that path hooked up, which should allow that to be a thing. We may actually need to put one more piece of path going this way, but we'll see. Look at that. That is like a critical mass in that pool there. I don't know that I'd want to be, you know, stewing in a pool like that with that many beavers in it. Alright, regardless, it is now time for triple speed. I think we've addressed just about everything from the comments that I think needed to be brought up. I know there's always, you know, stuff you guys leave that is helpful to have that is also overlap with other people's comments or close enough to it that I don't think is really, strictly speaking, necessary. Okay, one more thing, not necessary for you to post as in don't post that anymore. I'm saying I don't need to acknowledge it. I'm not that your feedback is not appreciated. I did say I was going to put tanks up here for the inputs and outputs of all of this, being, of course, spicy sodas and lotus flower tea and water being a necessary component for all of those. Is this the one that's making tea? Yes. So I should, since I know this isn't going to get yeeted deleted, I should make this a ladder on the edge. This is already a ladder on this side. It's not blocking the doorway, right? Okay, good. So that will take them a little bit of time to get built, but it will be fine. We don't need to worry about that. We can just leave it in the background. That's going to be great. And if we want to stack this, then we should rethink our life choices, but then we can tear this down and stack it if we really want to. All right, this is too far, as I suspected, but let's hook this up. And it's still too far. Okay, as I suspected. Is it too far now? No, it is not. All right, it would be great if this was completed by the end of this episode. Let's do one more thing here. All right, K for kaboom. And then that will be a 2 deep, 1 wide thing, which I normally do not do when building these tunnels, but I figure, you know what, I'll throw you guys a bone here. And, folks, I think, yeah, that's fully connected. We are looking good. We have made such good progress today. I'm very pleased with this. I think the 1.5-hour episode format is really working out well. Just is going to become a thing that we have to be able to do absolutely every... This is really at 99%. Are you serious? All right, what about this one? 20%. All right. Well, I was going to swap this one over to ENS blueprints, but it's at 99%, so we're going to have to wait. I appreciate you guys. I genuinely do. Even if I don't always respond to every comment, which at this point I kind of can't, but I do always read them. And I appreciate your input. Even if we disagree, that is totally fine. But I really value the community aspect of this, and it's not really possible to do much more in terms of responses of what I'm currently doing, but I do always read all your comments, and I do consider doing everything that I think makes sense for what we're doing with the playthrough. And now that this has been swapped over, I'll go ahead and take care of that. Beard boosters cannot be overstated just how much they help keep this channel afloat and make room in my personal life for me to, you know, take care of other very necessary things and employment things outside of YouTube, because, you know, YouTube's not forever. It's not a permanent career, and the amount of time that I'm investing in this now is about as much as I can realistically do with everything else I have going on. And the folks who subsidize the channel make it possible for me to keep going and still have fun with the beavers, not have to worry about chasing the algorithm. And yes, do those things like take it down to 2 episodes per week for both of these big, challenging series we have going on, and have it, you know, not be a problem. So I really appreciate those folks, and I appreciate you too, even if you're not on that list. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you back again the end of this week on Friday for the next episode of this series. And of course, we have the Timberpunk 2 stuff and Roller Coaster Tycoon and all these other things we're getting back into. Take care. Bye-bye.